Today we continue to hear about Jesus addressing the chief priests and elders about the kingdom of God. However, instead of a parable about a vineyard, like we've heard for the past few weeks, we hear of a great wedding feast. Now, almost all of us have attended some sort of celebration, I think, whether it is a wedding or a graduation, birthday or an anniversary party, or simply a block party or a festival or a drive-through festival like the one going on outside right now. We know what these big events are like. There's lots of people, lots of food, lots of fun conversation, and depending on the type of party we're attending, music, games, maybe even a little dancing. Now, not that we can have any of that right now with COVID, unfortunately. For anyone who has planned a big event, one of the keys to being successful is to know how many people are going to show up, which is where invitations come into play. One of the worst things that could happen as the host is to run out of food or drink, as you want your guests to be fully satisfied when they leave. The king in today's gospel is no different. He has already sent out his invitations, and he may have even received some sort of acknowledgement or acceptance from his invited guests. Yet on the day of the feast, none of those invited guests arrived. Since he has an abundance of food, the king then calls in anyone and everyone to fill his hall and join the festive celebration of his son's wedding. I don't know about all of you, but if I receive an invitation to a royal wedding, my schedule's clear. This parable begs for a few questions, though. Who are the people who were originally invited to the royal wedding? And who are the people who actually attended? Those who were originally invited were the people of Israel, especially the elders and the chief priests whom Jesus was addressing this parable to. While they and their ancestors had agreed to the invitation by the covenant made at Sinai with Moses, they had not followed through. Instead of responding to the call to come to the feast, they went off to do something that was more important to them. We hear that one went off to his farm, another went off to his business. They had placed those things above their king, who also happens to be their God. Don't we also do that sometimes? Don't we also occasionally put something above God? Sometimes it is that work deadline that keeps creeping ever closer. Or maybe it is that sporting event that we have to attend or to play in, or we have to go watch. What about that TV show whose premiere is on this Saturday? Or simply just one more level in a video game, and then maybe I'll consider going. Do we really recognize what it is we are putting off or just outright ignoring? Yet we are invited back again and again to the wedding feast whenever and wherever we are and whatever it is we are doing. The people the king filled his hall with were not just the rich and powerful. They included the poor and the lowly, the beggars and the homeless, the widows and the orphans. They were members of the working class and peasantry, the day laborers, the tradesmen, the craftsmen, and the merchants. They were also the travelers, the immigrants, the migrants, and the visitors from foreign lands. They would have also included those who were most despised, the sinners, the prostitutes, the tax collectors, and the Gentiles. As all these people would have been coming from right off the street, as the gospel tells us, wedding garments would have been provided by the host, the king. Wearing this wedding garment is a condition of entry for the feast, one that would need to be worn at all times. It also symbolizes the equal status of all of the invited guests. For somebody to remove this garment would be to reject the requirements of entry and to place themselves above their host, as if the rules did not apply to them, much like the original invitees did. For us as Christians, our baptism is the wedding garment. To wear it is to act in accordance with what the scriptures and church tradition teaches us. And the wedding feast is the celebration of the Eucharist that we are invited to attend every single Sunday. Do we accept this royal invitation to show up and participate? Or do we choose to reject our God and King and place ourselves above him?